Incident Report, Exhibit Triple D2, paragraph 23 on page 20 of 30. If you could please present the rest of your report to the court.
Paragraph 23. Further examination of grey short inter alia marked Exhibit 120. On the 10th of November 2015, one grey short inter alia marked Exhibit 120 mentioned in paragraph 14.1.1.1 of my BPA statement was further examined in the evidence recovery laboratory biology unit, Western Cape. I have collected the following cutting from the grey short inter alia marked Exhibit 120 after documenting their nature and position, namely 23.1 Exhibit 120/91 on photographs 111 and 112 of Annexure Q. One cutting containing possible urine removed from grey short inter alia marked Exhibit 120/91. The cutting was placed inside an envelope inter alia marked Exhibit 120/91. After examination, the exhibit 120 was sealed in forensic evidence bag with seal number PW400074079. Paragraph 24. Cutting collected from Exhibit 120 mentioned in paragraph 23.1 was sealed inside forensic evidence bag with seal number PA5001555813 inter alia marked. Paragraph 25. The cutting collected from Exhibit 120 mentioned in paragraph 24 was sealed inside forensic evidence bag with seal number PAD 0012365533 inter alia marked Stellenbosch 645/01/2015. Paragraph 26. During the course of my official duties on the 10th of November 2015, I handed in sealed evidence bag with seal number PAD 0012365533 inter alia marked Stellenbosch 645/01/2015 to the administrative component of the Forensic Science Laboratory. Case management for further analysis by chemistry unit, containing the exhibit mentioned in paragraph 24. Paragraph 27. Comparison of Henry van Breda's statement with documented bloodstains and bloodstain patterns. Based on the information currently available to me, my opinions are as follows with regards to Henry van Breda's statement dated the 27th of January 2015. 27.1. The following extraction of information within Henry van Breda's statement highlighted and compared with bloodstains and bloodstain patterns identified within the crime scene and exhibits examined, namely 27.1.1, paragraph 5. While I was inside the toilet, I heard a noise from outside and can also hear that the noise was coming from my room where my brother was also sleeping because the noise was close. I opened the toilet door slightly and saw in the dark that someone was hitting Rudy. I then stand there afraid to go out of the toilet. I then started to shout for help. My father then arrived at the room and turned on the lights, and then I saw that this person had an axe in his hand, and that was the item that he was hitting Rudy with on the bed. My father, Martin, saw the whole thing happening, and my father then jumped on the person, and then the person started to assault the father with the axe. Rudy was just lying on the bed while the person was hitting my father with the axe. I was still standing in the bedroom with the lights on, looking of what is happening in front of me. My father then collapsed in my room where this person was attacking him. 27.1.1.1. Henry van Breda opened the door slightly, which indicated his body and clothing worn at the time of incident. Assault on Rudy van Breda. Exposure to bloodshedding event was minimal. 27.1.1.2, the position of Henry van Breda during the events within his bedroom is inconsistent and is not supported with the spatter bloodstains observed and documented on grey short inter alia mark exhibit 120 and pair of white socks inter alia mark exhibit 119, which he had on during the incident. The spatter bloodstains observed and documented place Henry van Breda in close proximity of blood sources of Rudy and Martin when force was applied to blood sources of the victims. 27.1.1.3, the position of the grey duvet inter alia mark exhibit 138 do not support the version events presented by Henry van Breda in his statement. Henry van Breda made no indication or explanation for the position of the grey duvet position near the entrance of bathroom door. 27.1.1.4, the position of the victim Rudy van Breda does not support the version of events presented by Henry van Breda in his statement. Henry van Breda made no indication or explanation for the position of the victim Rudy van Breda near the entrance of the bathroom door. 27.1.1.5, in Henry van Breda's statement, Rudy was just lying on the bed, may indicate being unconscious or incapacitated due to his injuries sustained during the events. 27.1.1.6, injuries sustained and absence of defensive wounds to hands, forearms, upper arms, or frontal aspect of body of Martin van Breda indicate to a surprise attack. The attack was most probably initiated from the right side of Martin van Breda's position, while on the bed of Rudy van Breda. The injuries sustained and final position of Martin van Breda suggests the victim entered the bed area from the left near table area. The bloodstain evidence and post-mortem report of Martin van Breda do not support Henry van Breda's statement at paragraph 5. 27.1.2, paragraph 6. Extraction from Henry van Breda's statement. After the person was assaulting my father, I heard my mother Teresa's voice, and I can hear that she was in the passage, and this person went out of the room to the passage where my mother was standing. I then can hear that this person was busy assaulting my mother in the passage. I then went out of the toilet and still in the bedroom walked towards the front door, but not went out of the bedroom. I could not see the passage where Teresa was from here. 27.1.2.1, Henry van Breda still stood in slightly opened bathroom door as indicated in paragraph 6, which indicated his body and clothing worn at the time of the events assaulting on Martin van Breda. Exposure to the bloodshedding events was minimal. 27.1.2.2, the bloodstain evidence documented at points B11, B27, my BPA statement support Henry van Breda's statement as indicated in paragraph 6. Bloodshedding events involving a blood source of the victim, Teresa van Breda. 27.1.3, paragraph 7. Extraction from Henry van Breda's statement. While I was in the room, I noticed that the same person came inside my room again, and then he looks at me, and then he laughed at me, and then he started to attack me with the axe he was holding in his right hand. We then started to fight with each other in the room, and then I managed to take the axe from him. I then stepped back a little back, and then I saw the person pull out a knife and then attack me again, and I then grabbed his right arm with my left hand and then pulled him to the side of my body, and then I felt that he stabbed me in the left side of my body at my ribs. And then I hit the person with the blunt side of the axe at the back of his body at his right shoulder, and then he left me, and then I took the knife out of my body that was still stuck inside my body where the person was stabbing me and then this person started to run. 27.1.3.1. The knife mentioned in paragraph 7 was partially found underneath bed of Rudy van Breda, with spatter bloodstains and non-spatter bloodstains.
Where you say bloodstain evidence documented at points B11 and B27 by BBA statement support the Henry van Breda statement. Is it support or does not support?
It supports.
Is it you want?
In his statement, he actually suggested that that he could hear that Teresa van Breda was being attacked outside her room. And so the bloodstains observed at the door frame and just outside the door frame is consistent with his version.
Okay. That's clear. Thank you. Sorry to interrupt you. May go back to you.
Thank you, my Lord. 27.1.3.1. The knife mentioned in paragraph 7 was found partially underneath the bed of Rudy van Breda, with spatter bloodstains and non-spatter bloodstains visible on knife. The bloodstains CS5 and CS6 was created after the knife was positioned and found partially underneath the bed. The knife was exposed to multiple bloodshedding events as indicated on image 1 of annexure K. The bloodstain evidence on knife does not support the statement of Henry van Breda at paragraph 7. 27.1.3.2. The bloodstain evidence documented on the floor of bathroom, exhibit S34 and S35 transfer patterns, suggests that an object or objects covered with blood of Rudy van Breda made contact with the floor, resulting in transfer of blood onto the bathroom floor. This is inconsistent with Henry van Breda's statement due to his location at the entrance of the bathroom during the blood-shedding events in the bedroom. At no stage did Henry return to the bathroom after the incident for the accidental transfer of blood from the bedroom floor to the bathroom floor by his feet or an object according to his statement. 27.1.3.3. The bloodstain evidence documented in the bathroom shower, invisible microscopic blood, suggests an object or objects covered with blood of Rudy, Henry and Teresa van Breda might have been washed, cleaned inside the shower. This is inconsistent with Henry van Breda's statement, due to the fact that he was positioned at the entrance of the bathroom during the bloodshedding events in the bedroom. At no stage did Henry return to the bathroom after the incident according to his statement. 27.1.4, paragraph 8, extraction from Henry van Breda's statement. I then went to the room door while this person was running down the stairs, and then I threw the axe at him, but I missed him. I do not know whose act it was because it did not know what we had an axe in the house. After I threw the axe at this person, I then started to run after him, and while I was busy running down the stairs, I tripped and fell. And when I stand up, I noticed the person was gone. I then assumed that this person was out the back door because we always left the back door opened every night for the domestic worker to come inside the house. I then went to the back door and discovered that the back door was standing open, and then went outside but saw no one. I then went back inside the house because I was afraid to follow him because I did not know what he had on him. Paragraph 9, extraction from Henry van Breda's report. When I came back inside the house, I noticed that my father's study room lights was on and the bedroom of my parents was also on. I then tried to call my girlfriend Bianca, but the phone just went on voicemail, and then I started to Google for an emergency number and walked up the stairs, and I was still on the internet looking for a number. I saw my mother and my sister lying in the passageway. At that time, I was still on the stairs and then fainted on the stairs. 27.1.4.1. The bloodstained pattern observed and documented at point B24, cast-off pattern, with cessation cast-off, does not support Henry van Breda's version of throwing the axe. The pattern identified created by an object under control of the handler. 27.1.4.2. The events surrounding the confrontation between the suspect and Henry van Breda, running after the suspect, as indicated in his statement, paragraph 8, fainting on a staircase, occurred within seconds or even a few minutes. The flow patterns observed and documented on the upper body of Henry van Breda, points CS13 and CS13 and CS14, and drying time of blood on skin do not support Henry van Breda's version of events. The significant movement of the upper body of Henry van Breda would have disturbed the flow of blood down his upper chest area. Deviation would have been observed within the flow pattern. 27.1.5, paragraph 10, extraction from Henry van Breda's statement. I then woke up and then still saw my sister and my mother in a passageway lying on the ground, and I can see that my mother was not moving and my sister was still moving, and she also was breathing. I then got hold of. I then opened the front door, went outside for a bit, and then I went inside again and sat in the kitchen having some cigarettes while I waited for the emergency people, and then they arrived, and then I told them what happened, and then treated my family in the house. I did not touch anybody of my family in the house the time the person was assaulted my family with the axe. 27.1.5.1. The bloodstained evidence documented on the floor of bathroom does not support Henry van Breda's statement. Exhibits S34 and S35 transfer patterns indicated that an object or objects covered with blood of Rudy van Breda made contact with the floor, resulting in the transfer of blood onto the bathroom floor. This is inconsistent with Henry van Breda's statement due to the fact that he was positioned at the entrance of the bathroom during the bloodshedding events in the bedroom. At no stage did Henry return to the bathroom after the incident, according to his statement. 27.1.5.2. The bloodstain evidence documented in a bathroom shower does not support Henry van Breda's statement. The microscopic blood detected suggests an object or object covered with blood of Rudy van Breda, Henry van Breda, and Teresa van Breda might have been washed clean inside the shower. This is inconsistent with Henry van Breda's statement due to the fact that he was positioned at the entrance of the bathroom during bloodshedding events in the bedroom. At no stage did Henry van Breda return to the bathroom after the incident, according to his statement. Paragraph.
Sorry, Captain, to interrupt you. Paragraph 28 of your statement or report on page 25 of 30, it relates to the fact that you resealed the exhibits that you examined during the preparation of your report. Is that correct?
That's correct, my lord.
Then you have a summary or conclusion, which is explained in paragraph 29 on that same page 25 of 30. Can you please enlighten the court as to those?
Summary conclusion, 29.1. The bloodstains and bloodstained patterns observed and documented does not support the sequence of events presented by Henry van Breda in his statement. 29.2. The events surrounding the knife, Exhibit 1, presented by Henry van Breda in his statement is inconsistent with the events identified through bloodstain pattern analysis and the law of superposition. Photograph 58 of Annexure K and Image 1, Annexure K. Events pertaining to the grey duvet, inter alia marked Exhibit 158, were identified suggesting movement and interaction with the environment before the grey duvet was in its final position, Image 2 of Annexure R. 29.4. It is further my opinion that the victims were attacked in a short period of time, after which time lapse occurred, and the victim, Rudy van Breda, was moved, dragged from the bed and handled in front of the two beds in the bedroom. after which the grey duvet inter alia marked exhibit 138 was placed thrown adjacent to the victim Rudy van Breda. 29.5, during the incident, the knife exhibit 1 and the grey duvet inter alia marked exhibit 138 were in contact after the knife exhibit 1 was in contact with the victim Rudy van Breda's blood, image 3 annexure R. 29.6, no indication or evidence identified which suggests that the victim Rudy van Breda, being mobile, main focus on mobility after sustaining his injuries. 29.7, the events surrounding the confrontation following the suspect falling and fainting on the staircase presented by Henry van Breda in his statement is inconsistent with the flow patterns identified on his chest and left arm of Henry van Breda, which also suggests minimal to no movement of the upper chest and left arm of Henry van Breda after sustaining his injuries. 29.8, bloodstains and bloodstain patterns were identified, S33 and S34, and blood in shower, in areas which were not entered by the suspect as indicated by Henry van Breda, which is inconsistent with the events action presented by Henry van Breda in his statement. 29.9, the position of Henry van Breda during the events within bedroom is inconsistent and is not supported with the bloodstains, spatter bloodstains, observed and documented on grey shorts inter alia marked exhibit 120, and pair of white socks inter alia marked exhibit 119, which he had on during the incident. The spatter bloodstains observed and documented place Henry van Breda in close proximity of blood sources of Rudy, Martin, and Teresa van Breda when force was applied to blood sources of the victims. 29.10. Based on all my previous consideration and opinions, it is my conclusion that the evidence does not support the actions, events described in Henry van Breda's statement. I cannot rule out the possibility of staging. To define the definition, staging is defined as the alteration or the creation of evidence to direct the investigation away from the perpetrator or towards a specific individual.
Captain Joubert, just before we continue with other opinions that you formed on the scene, just for sake of completeness, before the start of the trial, you also provided the defense with a copy of your personal case file and notes that you used to prepare these reports, the photographs that you took and everything. Is that correct?
That's correct, my lord.
The photographs attached in your annexures in both reports, who took those photographs, Captain?
The photographs were taken by myself, and I also used photographs from Sergeant Hitchcock. That was the main crime scene technician documenting the scene.
And when you prepared or analyzed the exhibits in the, I'm sorry, I forget the terminology, the preparation laboratory, the part in the laboratory where you look examination?
The evidence recovery.
Thank you. The evidence recovery laboratory, who worked with you in that part of the laboratory?
I work alone, my lord.
I noticed that the measurements, although you say the measurements of the blood spatter specifically with reference to the grey shorts is an estimated because of the saturation of the blood in the material, it is very small, and please excuse if I use the wrong terminology, very small drops or spatter that you measured, like some of them are less than 1 millimeter in length or width. How far would a person be from an object to determine, or what would the effect be of the size of the droplet? Are you further away or closer to an object when it's small or big drops?
When you have smaller drops, my lord, due to their mass, they do not travel as far as your larger droplets. Due to the air resistance is more applicable, has got a greater effect on smaller droplets. So smaller droplets do not travel as far as your larger droplets.
So I have to confess, I had it the wrong way around. I thought because it's smaller it will travel further, but it's actually the other way around.
That's correct,
Just some issues that came up during the cross-examination of Sergeant Hitchcock as well. The samples in the shower, who took those samples in the bathroom?
I took them, my lord, myself.
So the photographs in Sergeant Hitchcock's album depicting the blue-gloved hands, whose are those then?
That's me, my lord.
And if I read your CV correctly, you are a crime scene collector, evidence collector. I'm sorry if I use the wrong terminology, it's big words for me. You are trained to collect evidence on a crime scene.
Yes, my lord.
That was your initial training?
Yes, my lord.
And when you specifically entered the shower, Captain Hubert, what steps did you take to prevent contamination of the shower from the rest of the very bloody scene in the bedroom?
My lord, due to the extent of all the bloodstains in the bedroom, and also I took the precaution, I'd actually had a personal protective gear already on, so what I did, I took a new one, and inside that covering, that bag is also a red bag, and I placed it in front of the shower. I actually took off my old PPE, and I stepped onto the clean red bag, and I put on a new PPE, and then I stepped into the shower. And that was done for the sole purpose of not contaminating the shower with the PPE I actually had on before I actually got into the shower.
Captain Hubert, I'd like to take you to, it is Exhibit V6. It is a copy of the handwritten rough notes of Sergeant Hitchcock on the scene, and I'm referring to you to the second page thereof. I'll hand you a copy. The bottom quarter, third part of that page, Captain Hubert, there's a note with regards to the effect of a photograph or something, I'm paraphrasing. Can you please comment? Sergeant Hitchcock said he remembered that being written down, but he can't remember with regards to what it was written down. Do you have any comment?
What stands it precisely?
If I may just read the
Just read it. I don't.
Escort, please. The second page. Due to minute traces of possible blood, the document of the photo will increase the possibility of no DNA profile. Can you please comment on that, Captain?
My lord, in normal circumstances, when you apply Blue Star or luminol to enhance any possible bloodstains, it's always best to actually take a photograph of that specific area, and that photograph is taken in the dark, and it will actually show a blue color. But in this case, due to it was a very poor reaction and not a bright reaction, so I decided not to take a photograph due to the fact because you have to keep on spraying it to actually illuminate. And that will only cause that DNA to actually then be diluted and actually decrease the possibility of obtaining a DNA sample. So I made a decision only to document it on my crime scene notes, and I then collected it with a swab to increase the possibility for a DNA profile.
Just before we move on, I just want, that's a couple of aspects that I would like to ask you to elaborate on, Captain. If you go to paragraph 27.1.2.2, page 22 of 30 on Exhibit Triple D, it's the second report. The court has already asked you about the opinion you formed.
Page 22.
Yes, page 22. Paragraph 27.122, the bloodstain, you refer to the court that the door, you refer specifically with regards to the bloodstain on the door frame, which supports the version of Henry that Teresa was attacked outside the bedroom.
That's
Is that
correct,
correct?
my lord. At the entrance or outside the bedroom?
What is your opinion with regards to the position that Henry indicated he was at that time when Teresa was attacked? If I remember, it was he went out of the toilet, still in the bedroom, towards the front door, but not out of the bedroom. He could not see where Teresa was attacked from there. Given the spatter on his shorts and socks, would that fit or support his version or not?
That will not support his version, my lord.
And why do you say that, Captain?
Because the only spatter on the short and also on the pair of white socks, that he was not in view of Teresa van Breda when she was attacked in the passageway and just outside the entrance. So by no means will they be able to spatter to travel that far and around the bedroom wall to actually be deposited onto his shorts and white pair of socks. She was not in close proximity of the victim when force was applied to her blood sources.
Whilst we're busy with Teresa van Breda, in your first report, Exhibit Triple D1, paragraph 10.11 as well as 37.4, let me just get the page numbers. It's the first 10.11 is page 9 of 55. And I think it is line 9. Starting with the impact angle and directionality of the spatter suggests that the blood source was close to the floor and to the left of the impact spatter pattern. Now, I presume, and correct me if I'm wrong, when you refer to the blood source in this instance, that would be Teresa van Breda. That is the blood source, or do you refer to another blood source?
That's correct, Madam.
Okay. And the force was applied. How would your opinion be affected, if at all, if Teresa was already lying down on the floor, or was already down on the floor? Would that have an impact, her position different from when she was standing up? I'm sorry if do I make myself clear? Or?
My lord, the directionality and the impact spatter angles, and you've to take in the conversion points, that Teresa van Breda was on the floor already when force was applied to her blood source, and that will be her head.
And then I think 37.4 is a similar reference. Let me just make sure. Yeah, it's page 42 of 55, paragraph 37.4. It's a similar, again, the force was applied to a blood source of victim Teresa near the floor in front of the cupboard. So it's a similar as the previous scenario in 10.11.
That's correct, Madam.
Okay. There was a during her evidence, whilst we're still dealing with Teresa van Breda, during her evidence, and specifically with regards to the mixture of Teresa, Rudy, and Henry's profile in the shower door, and I think you also mentioned some other samples also have the same 3 profiles read into it. Lieutenant Colonel Otto conceded that given the DNA type profile of the 3 persons involved, it can only also be interpreted to read only Rudy and Henry. What, if any, would that difference of profiles, the number of profiles, have on your opinion with regards to the blood spatter or the blood found in the shower and on the shorts?
My Lord, with regards to the blood found in the shower, that can also only be Henry and Rudy van Breda's blood in the shower. But that is a shower being utilized by both of them. So that is consistent and can be there. But the mixtures on the shorts, where Teresa is, with, I think it's 1 or 2 mixtures that's actually, it's Rudy van Breda and also Martin van Breda and Teresa, is these mixtures on. What that tells me is that that blood most probably is coming from an object. From an object, like for instance the axe itself. That was already mixed, the blood, because of the assault of the victims. And then the blood was mixed, and then one of those drops actually landed on the grey short and causing that specific mixture.
So,
but it can also mean the other scenario that if that mixture is of the one on the shorts could also only be then the two brothers as well. So we can't exclude that fact as well.
but it will not, oh sorry, wasn't answer for you. How, if any, will it change your opinion with regards to the mechanism of how the blood came to be where you found it?
On the shorts, none.
In your first report again, page, that is Exhibit D1, page 49 of 55, paragraph 3736-2, with regards to Exhibit 6, as you numbered it, the axe, and specifically with regards to the handle part of the axe, you note that there was no significant disturbance in bloodstains observed on the handle part of the axe. What, as a bloodstain analyst, Captain Joubert, would you expect to find on an instrument such as the one in this matter, where there was a struggle for the possession of the item?
My Lord, in this case, if you were struggling to actually get hold of the axe, you would expect to find some sort of disturbance in the bloodstains that was created on the handle of the axe. But I must also, there's also a possible scenario mentioned in Henry van Breda's statement that he actually said that he grabbed the attacker's hand. So that could also be the reason why the blood is also not being disturbed. So I can't exclude that possibility.
Then with regard to, I'm sorry, I didn't make a note of the specific paragraph in your reports, but as I understand, your conclusion of the blood spatter on, sorry, it's actually blood stains on the shorts and socks of Henry, the accused, you place him in close proximity to the assaults or the attacks on both Rudy and Martin. Let's keep it just to that scenario, in the bedroom.
That's correct, my Lord.
Okay. What evidence, if any at all, did you find on the bathroom wall on the outside in the bedroom that might possibly support his version of having been in the bathroom door and still managing then to have the spatter on or the stains on his clothes?
My Lord, the position described by Henry van Breda being in a slightly open door. If you look at the outside door of the bathroom and the adjacent walls on both sides, there are no spatter identified or documented in that specific area. And one would expect to find spatter in that specific area if he was standing there when the blood was deposited onto his shorts.
You also mentioned that you had access, you've already testified with regard to that, you have had access to the photographs of the accused Henry van Breda whilst he's in the ambulance. Were you able to find any blood stain or spatter or anything on his body or arms that would support his version similar to what was found on his shorts and socks?
No, my Lord.
Then specifically with regards to, and I'm just trying to make sure which paragraph it is. Yeah. Your second report, Exhibit D2, page 24 of 30, paragraph 27141, with reference to the fact that you are of the view that the cast-off pattern with the cessation cast-off does not support the accused version of throwing the axe. What type of blood stain or blood spatter would you expect if it was an uncontrolled motion in comparison to what you found with that blood stain on the scene, Captain?
My Lord, first of all, we need to understand the mechanism that actually goes with the throwing of an axe. And when you've got an instrument in motion, the blood adheres to that specific surface. And when in a motion, there is a force they call centrifugal force. And that's the force going out of the arc. And that actually increases and actually let the blood drops actually being released, projected from that specific item. So if you threw the axe, it depends on how you're going to throw the axe. That will create starting spatter being released from that specific axe. And in my opinion, I would have expected to find cast-off patterns with elliptical shapes much higher on the wall than what I've actually observed at B24. That's correct, no.
Not on the axe.
Not on the axe, no. But I would have expected because as the axe actually rotates, it will actually flung off blood drops. And that blood drops will actually also deposit on the wall, but that will also be elliptical shape. And if you look at the B24, it starts off more like circular shaped bloodstones.
Have you seen the axe?
Yes, ma'am.
It's not very light.
Yeah, it's
You see, it's if you look at it, it's relatively white, actually. Perhaps not me, but somebody stronger than me gets around this act. Do you just feel it?
actually, I bought a similar axe.
You got a similar.
Just to yes. It's possible.
Yeah.
And then, Captain, it's also, if I look at the photographs specifically with regards to the blood stain, both above and below the tool mark in the wall, with regards to the axe having been thrown after the fleeing assailant, it's not like there wasn't, and please correct me if I'm wrong, it's not like there wasn't enough blood left on the axe to create a blood spatter pattern to fit with the axe being thrown. I mean, because there's a long trail of blood underneath the axe. Correct me if I'm wrong. If one has a look at the photographs, maybe if I can take you to the crime scene photographs of Sergeant Hitchcock, if the court would give me a few seconds. Of Exhibit A in file number 1 containing the exhibit symbol. The photo, it's 120, yeah. Yes. Below the, for lack of a better term, the hole in the wall, there is a trail of blood, am I correct?
No, that's correct, madam.
And in your opinion, as a blood stain analyst, would that have been sufficient fluid, blood left on the axe to create the blood stain or blood spatter that you as an analyst would expect to find with an uncontrolled motion of the axe?
Yes, madam.
Am I correct, Captain Hubert, that in that trail of blood below the hole there is what appears to be hair left also?
That's correct, madam.
I just want to summarize then with regards to what your opinion is on the staging, which you say you can't exclude staging of the scene. Am I correct, Captain Hubert, that there are, please if I left something out, please, there are, it appears to me you are of the view that there are 4 basic items or types of events that could lead, that cause you to be of the opinion that the scene might have been staged. Firstly, with regards to the exhibit 138, the duvet of Henry's bed that was...
That's like, ask the witness a question, what do you base your opinion of staging?
He's already tested.
Not put it to the witness to confirm.
As God please, with all due respect, my Lord, as far as I understand, this is already the witness's evidence before court, but I will put it differently. On what do you base your opinion with regard to Exhibit 138 with Henry's duvet? Is that part of what you say the scene?
I can't actually really say if the duvet was placed there, just for staging purposes.
Yeah.
But definitely I can say that B24, the throwing of the axe, in my opinion, was to stage a scene.
So you make a difference, I'm sorry, then I used the incorrect terminology. You make a difference between staging the scene and items being changed after their original position during the actual incident.
That's correct.
Okay.
Because I don't have any explanation for the reason for the duvet exhibit 158 and Rudy van der Daal being moved afterwards.
And do you have any explanation for the knife then being moved to its eventual position half under the bed, or do you have no explanation for that, Captain?
There's no explanation, my lord.
Now, Captain Hubert, you subsequent to the trial starting and the accused being given and the accused giving the court a full plea explanation, you were given a copy of his plea explanation, is that correct?
That's correct, my lord.
Do you have any comment on the details of the plea explanation, because you did a detailed analysis of the accused's statement, which is before the court. Do you have any comments on the details of the plea explanation with regards to the blood stain analysis?
My lord, I've actually made a presentation that we can present, where I actually compared the 2 statements, the plea explanation. I did this one.
Do you have a copy of the presentation, Captain? Lord, may I request If I may just make sure with the witness.
The documents were given to us before we started off the tea, Jim. Look, I've seen it. If the document that my brilliant colleague is going to refer the witness to now is one where he draws comparisons about what he perceived to be discrepancies between my client's version of the plea explanation and his previous statement, then I'm going to object. Because that is for the court to determine at the end of the day. That's not for this witness. He's a blood clot expert. And I'd object to it on that basis.
My Lord, may...
Something that this court, as Mr. Botha correctly points out, something that this court will have to decide. He'll just have to look at the statement and comment on the statement if he can.
I agree, my Lord. My Lord, I see it's almost 12:30. May I ask, I understand Mr. Botha's pressed for time, but may I ask for time to consult with the witness quickly? So I just make sure that what I still need to lead him on does not amount to him taking over the duties of the court, my Lord.
The court will adjourn until 1:15.